I came home from work to find my own locks changed. Not after a fight, not after a warning, just a new deadbolt on the front door of the house I pay the mortgage on. My toxic family was inside, lights on, TV playing, and when I knocked, my own mother opened the door just enough to say, "You don't live here anymore." My father stood behind her like a security guard. My brother was sitting on my couch. My couch. They told me I was unstable, that they were protecting the property, that I should be grateful they were taking over. And then, when I refused to leave the porch of the home legally in my name, they called the police and told them I was trespassing. I bought that house when I was 27 years old. 3 years of saving, scrimping, working double shifts at a restaurant, and weekends at a retail store. I drove the same beat-up Honda until the check engine light became a permanent fixture. I skipped vacations, ate ramen, said no to dinners with friends because I was saving for something bigger. And then I found it. A little fixer-upper in a quiet neighborhood. Nothing fancy, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, a backyard that needed more work than I knew how to give. But it was mine. Every brick, every window, every creaky floorboard. Mine. I closed on the house and sat on the floor of my empty living room, surrounded by boxes, and cried. Happy tears, the kind you cry when you've done something you never thought you could. Then my mother called. She was having trouble with her landlord. Rent was going up, her fixed income couldn't keep up, and she didn't know where else to go. Could she stay with me for a few months, just until she found something else? I said yes, because she was my mother. A few months turned into a year, then 2. She stopped looking for other places, stopped talking about moving out, started acting like the house was hers. She rearranged my kitchen cabinets without asking, complained when I moved things back, told me I was too particular about my own home. I let it slide, because family. My brother started showing up next. He and his wife Jenna were between apartments. Could they crash in the guest room for a few weeks, just until they got back on their feet? I said yes, because they were family. A few weeks turned into 6 months. They took over the guest room, then the basement, then the backyard. Jenna redecorated without asking. New throw pillows, new curtains, a whole new vibe in rooms that were mine. My brother treated the place like his personal hotel, left dishes in the sink, never offered to help with bills. My father showed up last. He and my mother had been divorced for years, but suddenly he was around more, fixing things, offering opinions, acting like he had a say in how I ran my own home. I told myself it was temporary. I told myself they'd leave eventually. I told myself family was worth the inconvenience, worth the discomfort, worth the slow erosion of my own space. I was so stupid. The day it happened was Tuesday. I remember because it was trash day, and I'd put the bins out that morning, like always. Normal. Unremarkable. I went to work, kissed my mother goodbye, waved at my brother on the couch. Nothing felt different. I came home at 6 p.m. to find my key wouldn't turn. I tried again, and again, jiggled it, forced it, nothing. The lock was new, shiny brass, standing out against the old, worn hardware I'd never gotten around to replacing. I rang the doorbell, heard the chime inside. No answer. Rang again. Nothing. That's when I saw the note taped to the doorframe, a single sheet of paper, folded once, my brother's handwriting on the inside. "We'll be in touch. Don't make this harder than it needs to be." I stood on my own porch, keys dangling uselessly from my hand, staring at those words, trying to make them mean something else, trying to find an explanation that didn't involve my family locking me out of my own home. I called my mother, straight to voicemail. Called my brother, straight to voicemail. Called Jenna. She picked up on the 3rd ring. "Oh, you're home early." My voice came out strangled. "What did you do?" "We changed the locks. We're calling it a family intervention. Get out of my house." "It's not your house anymore. Not really. You've been so unstable lately, we thought it was best. For everyone." "I'm calling the police." "Go ahead," she laughed. "We already did." She hung up. I stood there, phone in my hand, watching 3 squad cars turn onto my street, red and blue lights flashing, neighbors coming out onto their lawns, coffee cups in hand, ready for a show. Someone actually pulled out their phone and started filming. My mother appeared at the front window. She was crying, shoulders shaking, hand pressed to her chest like a grieving woman. Perfect performance. My brother opened the door and pointed at me. "Officers, that's her. She's been threatening us for months. We had to change the locks for our safety." Jenna stood behind him, arms crossed, nodding along. Smug. My father emerged from the backyard, positioned himself like a bouncer. The police approached me. 2 of them. Young officers, maybe early 30s, trying to look professional. "Ma'am, we received a call about a trespassing situation. Can you tell us what's happening here?" I pointed at the house. "This is my house. I own it. I pay the mortgage. Those people inside are my family, and they changed the locks while I was at work." The officers exchanged glances. "Ma'am, do you have any proof of ownership on you? ID with this address?" I patted my pockets. My wallet was inside. Behind the door, my family just locked me out. "No, it's inside, in my bedroom. They won't let me in." My mother came out on the porch, still crying, dabbing her eyes with a tissue. "She's been so unstable lately. We're just trying to help her. She needs help, officers. Real help." My brother nodded. "We're worried about her mental health. She's been making threats, acting erratically. We did what we had to do to protect ourselves." Jenna chimed in. "We have witnesses. Neighbors have seen her yelling, acting out. It's been going on for months." I stared at them. These people I'd housed and fed and supported for years. These people who were now calmly, deliberately destroying me in front of the whole neighborhood. "That's a lie," I said. "All of it. They've been living with me rent-free. I've supported them. The officer held up a hand. "Ma'am, we need everyone to calm down. Right now, we have conflicting stories. For everyone's safety, we're going to ask you to leave the property while we sort this out." "Leave my own house?" "For now, yes. You can come back to the station and file a report. We'll look into ownership records. But standing here, escalating things, isn't going to help anyone." I looked at my family, at my mother's fake tears, at my brother's smug face, at Jenna's crossed arms and satisfied smile, at my father standing guard like he'd been waiting his whole life for this moment. I left. I walked to my car, got in, and drove away from my own house. In my rearview mirror, I watched my mother accept a tissue from a neighbor, playing the victim. I watched my brother shake hands with one of the officers, like he was a concerned citizen, not a thief. I drove to a coffee shop down the street, sat in my car, and cried for the first time in years. Then I pulled myself together and called the only person who could help. Rebecca, my lawyer. She answered on the second ring, listened to everything. When she finished, she was quiet for a moment. "Send me the deed and any proof you have that they've been living there. Texts, emails, photos, anything." "I have everything. Receipts, bank statements, photos of their stuff in my house." "Good, because we're going to need it." "What do I do now?" "Nothing. Don't go back. Don't call them. Don't engage. Let them think they've won." "They have won. They're in my house." "For now." Her voice was calm, certain, but they made one mistake. "What?" "They called the police. They made it official. They put it on record. And now we have a paper trail. Trespassing calls, false reports, documented lies." I sat up. "So what do we do?" "We wait, and we prepare. And when the time is right, we destroy them." I looked out the window at the darkening sky, at the coffee shop lights flickering on, at the normal people living normal lives, oblivious to the war I was about to wage. "Okay," I said. "I'm ready." Rebecca's voice was steady. "Good, because this is going to get ugly, but you're going to win." I spent that night at Chloe's apartment. Again. She was becoming my emergency contact by default. Her couch was comfortable, at least, and she didn't ask too many questions, just handed me a blanket, a glass of wine, and sat with me while I stared at the ceiling. "You're going to get it back," she said. "You know that, right?" I nodded. I didn't believe it, but I nodded. The next morning, Rebecca called. "I've got the deed, I've got your proof of residency, I've got bank statements showing you paid the mortgage, the taxes, the utilities, every single bill." And now we wait. They'll have to respond to the court summons. They'll have to explain why they're living in your house without your permission. How long will that take? Could be days, could be weeks. Depends on how fast the court moves and how hard they fight. I closed my eyes. I can't afford weeks. I can't afford days. I need my home. I know, but rushing this will only hurt you. We do it right, or we don't do it at all. I agreed. What else could I do? 3 days passed. I stayed at Chloe's, went to work, pretended everything was normal. My family didn't call, didn't text, nothing. Then my brother posted on Facebook a photo of the living room, my living room. He'd rearranged the furniture, new throw pillows on my couch, a new rug on my floor. The caption, "Finally making this place feel like home, thanks to everyone who's supported us through this difficult time." Dozens of comments. "So proud of you. Family sticks together. You're so strong." I read them all, felt my blood pressure rise with every one. Chloe found me staring at my phone, face white. "What is it?" I showed her. She read the post, scrolled through the comments, and handed the phone back. "They're building a narrative," she said, "making themselves the victims, making you the villain." I know. You can't let them win the PR war. I don't care about PR. I care about my house. Same thing. If enough people believe them, if they build a story that sticks, it gets harder for you. Judges are human. Juries are human. They're influenced by public opinion. I stared at her. So what do I do? You fight back. Quietly, carefully, but you fight. That night I made a list. Every text my mother had sent me over the past 2 years. Every message where she complained about something, asked for money, made demands. I screenshotted them all. Every email from my brother, asking to borrow money, promising to pay it back, never doing it. Saved. Every photo of them in my house, the guest room decorated with Jenna's things, my brother's shoes by the door, my mother's medications on the kitchen counter. Proof that they lived there. Proof that they weren't guests. They were residents. I sent everything to Rebecca. She called back within an hour. "This is gold," she said. "This is exactly what we need." "When can we file?" "Tomorrow morning. I'm drafting the eviction notice now. We're not just asking them to leave. We're suing for trespassing, for emotional distress, for the cost of changing the locks, everything." "Do you think they'll fight?" "They'll try, but they have no leg to stand on. You have the deed, you have proof of payment, you have texts showing they knew this was your house. They're not just trespassing, they're committing fraud." I felt something I hadn't in days. Hope. The eviction notice was served on a Friday afternoon. My brother called within an hour, screaming, "What the hell is this? You're evicting us? Your own family?" I kept my voice calm. "You locked me out of my house. You changed the locks. You called the police on me. What did you expect?" "We were trying to help you. You're mentally ill. I need you out of my house. You have 30 days, then the sheriff comes." My mother got on the phone, crying, of course. "After everything I did for you, after everything I sacrificed, this is how you treat me? Your own mother?" "What did you sacrifice, Mom? You lived in my house rent-free for 2 years. I paid for everything. Food, utilities, your medications. I never asked for anything. I raised you. I gave you life. I gave you life, and then you tried to take my home." She hung up. I sat on Chloe's couch, my phone in my hand, shaking. Chloe came in with tea. "You okay?" I nodded. "I think so." "Good, because you're not done yet." The next 2 weeks were war. My family fought back. They hired a lawyer, filed a countersuit, claimed I'd abandoned the property, claimed I'd given them permission to live there indefinitely, claimed I was mentally unstable and they were acting in my best interest. My mother gave an interview to a local news station, stood on the lawn of my house, tears streaming, telling the reporter how her mentally ill daughter had abandoned her, left her homeless, was trying to destroy the family. The segment aired that night. My phone exploded. Friends, coworkers, strangers, all with opinions. Some supportive, some accusing, some just confused. I watched the segment from Chloe's couch, my hands shaking. "She's good. Really good," Chloe said. "She's been practicing her whole life. What are you going to do?" I thought about it. Thought about the years of manipulation, the years of sacrifice, the years of being made to feel like I owed them everything. "Fight," I said. "I'm going to fight." Rebecca called the next morning. "Did you see the news?" "Unfortunately." "Good, because now we have defamation, public statements that damage your reputation. That's another charge." "I don't care about charges. I care about getting my house back." "We will, but first we need to control the narrative. I'm setting up a press conference." "A what?" "A press conference. You're going to stand in front of cameras and tell your side of the story, with proof, with documents, with everything." I stared at the phone. "I can't do that." "You can, and you will, because if you don't, they win. The public will believe them, the court will be influenced, and you'll spend years fighting a battle you should have won in weeks." I thought about it. Thought about my mother's face on TV, lying to millions of people. Thought about my brother's smug posts. Thought about Jenna's satisfied smile. "Okay," I said. "Set it up." The press conference was 3 days later. I stood at a podium in Rebecca's office, cameras pointed at me, microphones clustered like hungry birds. My hands were shaking, my voice was steady. "My name is Sarah Chen, and that house you saw on the news, the one my mother claims I abandoned, I bought it with money I saved since I was 16. I paid the mortgage, I paid the taxes, I paid every single bill." I held up a stack of papers. "These are bank statements, proof of every payment I've made for 3 years. And these," I held up another stack, "these are texts from my family, asking for money, promising to pay it back, never doing it." I looked directly into the cameras. "I'm not mentally unstable. I'm not a danger to anyone. I'm a woman whose family tried to steal my home, and I'm not going to let them." The room erupted, questions from every direction. I answered them all, calmly, honestly, with proof. That night, the story changed. The week after my press conference was chaos. My phone rang constantly, news outlets wanting interviews, strangers offering support, a few hateful messages from people who still believed my mother's lies. I ignored most of them. But the tide had turned. Public opinion shifted. Comments on the news segments went from, "How could she abandon her mother?" to, "Those people need to get out of her house." My brother's Facebook went private. My mother stopped giving interviews. Jenna deleted her Instagram. They were hiding. Rebecca called with an update. "The court date is set, 2 weeks from today." "What are the chances we win?" 95%, maybe higher. They don't have a case. They just have a narrative, and your press conference destroyed that. I felt something loosen in my chest. So it's really going to happen? I'm going to get my house back? You're going to get your house back, and they're going to pay for every day they kept you out. The 2 weeks crawled by. I stayed at Chloe's, worked my job, tried to pretend my life wasn't on hold. Then, 3 days before the court date, my mother called. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. "Sarah." Her voice was different, small, no tears, no performance, just tired. "Mom, we need to talk, before court. There's nothing to talk about. Please, just hear me out." I waited. "We know we're going to lose. Our lawyer told us. He said we don't have a case, that you have all the proof, that we're going to be evicted and sued and probably charged with fraud." I said nothing. "I'm not asking you to drop the case. I'm not asking you to forgive me. I'm asking if we can talk, face to face, before it all ends." "Why? So you can manipulate me one more time?" A long pause. When she spoke again, her voice cracked. "So I can apologize, really apologize, for once in my life." I closed my eyes, felt the years of hurt pressing down on me. I'll think about it. I hung up. I went to the house that night. I don't know why. Curiosity, maybe, or some stubborn hope that people could change. The lights were on. Through the window, I could see them moving around. My mother in the kitchen, my brother on the couch, Jenna on her phone, my father at the dining table. My life, my home, occupied by people who had tried to destroy me. I walked up to the door and knocked. My mother opened it. She looked older, smaller. The confident woman who'd cried for cameras was gone. "Sarah, thank you for coming." I stepped inside, looked around at my living room, filled with their things, their furniture, their mess. "You have 3 minutes." We sat in the kitchen, the same kitchen where I'd cooked dinner for them 100 times, where I'd listened to their problems, given them money, believed their promises. My mother spoke first. "I was wrong about everything. I let your brother convince me that you were the problem, that we deserved what you had. I was angry and scared, and I took it out on you." My brother stared at the table. Jenna wouldn't meet my eyes. "I've spent my whole life manipulating people. My parents, your father, you. I thought it was survival. I thought it was how the world worked. But watching you on that news, holding up those papers, speaking the truth, I saw myself for the first time, and I hated what I saw." Tears ran down her face, real ones. "I don't expect you to forgive me. I don't expect anything. But I needed you to know that I see it now. I see what I did, and I'm ashamed." I looked at my brother. "What about you?" He shrugged. "She's saying what we came to say." "That's it? That's your apology? What do you want from me? A song and dance? You're evicting us. We're losing everything. Isn't that enough?" I stood up. "You're losing what you stole. That's not the same thing." I walked to the door, turned back one last time. "The court date is still happening. You're still being evicted. You're still paying what you did. But I wanted to hear it, the truth, even if it took 30 years. I walked out. The court date was anticlimactic. My family didn't fight, didn't argue. Their lawyer stood up, admitted they had no claim, and accepted the judgment. The judge ruled in my favor. Eviction effective immediately. Restitution for every day they kept me out. Legal fees, damages for emotional distress, a permanent restraining order. I sat in the courtroom, listening to the words, and felt nothing. No victory, no joy, just a deep, quiet peace. Afterwards, in the hallway, my brother approached me. His face was hard. "You happy now? You got everything you wanted." "I got what was mine. There's a difference." He stared at me for a long moment, then walked away. My mother lingered. She looked at me with wet eyes. "I meant what I said. I'm sorry. I know it doesn't change anything, but I'm sorry." I nodded. "I know." She walked away. I stood alone in that hallway, surrounded by the ghosts of everything that had happened, and took the first full breath I'd taken in months. Moving back in was strange. The house smelled like them, their food, their detergent, their lives. I spent a week cleaning, painting, throwing out everything they'd left behind. New furniture, new curtains, new locks, obviously. The first night I slept in my own bed again, I lay awake for hours, just staring at the ceiling, listening to the silence, feeling the walls hold me the way they always had. Chloe came over the next weekend with pizza and wine. "How does it feel?" I looked around my living room. My furniture, my walls, my home. "It feels like mine again." She raised her glass. "To that." We drank, laughed, talked until midnight. My phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. "I hope you're happy. You destroyed our family." I blocked it without responding. Some people never learn, but I did. I learned that family isn't about blood. It's about who shows up, who tells the truth, who loves you without conditions. And I learned that sometimes the only way to protect yourself is to walk away, even from the people who gave you life. Would you have met with them before court? Comment below. Can toxic family ever really change, or do they just learn to hide better? Subscribe for more stories about standing your ground, fighting back, and choosing yourself.